And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome back to the channel. So yesterday was the day, we finally got to see what the PS5 is going to look like. So we had Sony's presentation last night and no, I didn't upload any video about it. I'm not gonna lie, I was super hyped, but I wanted to wait, I wanted to digest everything. And now, today, yes, I'm going to make a video talking about it. First things first, I want to talk about the actual presentation. And I think that Sony did a phenomenal job because, you know, comparing it with the previous event that they had, I think it was the road to the PS5, that thing was just boring. But yesterday, I think that everything was spot on, you know, the editing, the presentation, it was a really good show. And just a side note, I think that companies should really focus on that, especially this year with the lack of E3. And even though Sony is not on E3 anymore, but you know, you really need to step up your game. And I do have a couple of my personal notes here. And before we're going to talk about the actual look of the Sony PlayStation 5, I want to talk about the games because a lot of this presentation, I mean, 1 hour of this presentation was just games, just gameplay. And yes, a lot of things were left out. We really wanted to know more about the actual console. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the games. And I was really happy with that. I mean, just give me games. Just show me games that justify me to jump into the next gen. Give me games that justify me to buy your console. And a lot of you guys know me due to the retro games. And it is true, I'm more focused into retro gaming. But I've always kept up with the current gen. And aside from this current gen where I have both the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, growing up, I only had one console per generation. And Sony PlayStation, since day one, since the original PlayStation, has been my choice for gaming. So after last night's presentation, am I going to pick the PS5? Yes, I am. Day one. And just another quick side note, I was never into the Xbox. I'm not a hater of the Xbox, I was just never into the system. But for the very first time, the Series X, I also want to get that system, but I will leave that to the end of the video. Now about the games, I'm just going to focus in a couple of games, the ones that caught my attention. But I mean, Sony has presented us with a lot of good stuff. There was so much variety. I saw platform games, I saw sports games, I saw a brand new Gran Turismo game, so racing games. We saw, I don't know, action games. Literally a little bit of everything. And a lot of these games, a big chunk of these games were brand new IPs. And that's exactly what Sony needs. Just a couple of highlights here from previous known franchises. GTA 5 is going to have another comeback into modern gen, the next gen, which is weird because GTA 5 is a game from the 7th generation. It was released on the PS3. I really enjoyed GTA 5, but the offline story mode, I'm not very much into online, so I don't know if this new port gives me something that, you know, that I still haven't experienced when it comes to the story, to the main story. Sure, why not? New Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 8. What else? A new Hitman game, Ratchet & Clank, Spider-Man, a brand new Spider-Man game. And let me tell you, I think that this Spider-Man game could be a launch game. And if it is a launch game, I mean, that is going to be huge for Sony. New Horizon game, which looks beautiful. But I want to go back to Ratchet & Clank, because Ratchet & Clank, it's not that I'm a huge fan of this series, to be honest with you. I still haven't played it yet. Maybe I'm missing something big, I don't know, let me know down below. But this brand new one looked beautiful, looked amazing. And to be honest, from the bunch of games that we saw yesterday, this one for me was the one that really looked next gen. I don't know, something about the textures, about the gameplay, it really caught my attention. And now keep in mind, guys, that last night's presentation was in 1080p 30 frames per second. So the games will look a lot much better. And these were the ones that really caught my attention. Oddworld, Soulstone. That was, I'm not gonna lie, that almost got me a tear because it was very nostalgic for me. I'm a huge fan of the original game. And seeing Oddworld once again in a modern system, this is going to be a must-buy for me, no questions about it. Another one that really caught my attention, and we only got to see a small glance of it. It was just a small teaser, and it was by Square Enix. Now, when I saw the Square Enix logo, I thought to myself, well, this can't be a brand new Final Fantasy game. A brand new Kingdom Hearts game, well, that would be good. I thought about maybe a new Tomb Raider, I don't know. But no, it turned out that it is going to be a brand new IP called Project Athia. I hope I'm not mistaken, but I think that this is going to be a PS5 exclusive. And even though we just got to see a small taste, you know, just a small glance at the game, it really fascinates me. Is this going to be an action role-playing game? I don't know, it looked very futuristic and with a lot of fantasy elements at the same time, you know, dragons. I don't know, this, I'm going to keep an eye on this one for sure. We also got this game called Kena Bridge of Spirits by Amber Lamb. And what can I say about this one? This one also got my attention because, well, I'm not gonna lie it. This really looks like a Breath of the Wild clone. And I'm okay with that. If you're going to grab ideas from a great game to make a great game of your own, kudos for that. It looks to me like this is going to be a very, very emotional game with a very deep story, and it looks beautiful. The game just looks beautiful. I really enjoyed the character, I really enjoyed the graphics, the gameplay looks very fun. Again, it looks like Breath of the Wild to me. Another example of a game that, for me, it looks like next gen. Last but not least, I want to mention this game called Stray. When I looked at the teaser, I really thought that this was going to be Cyberpunk running on the PS5, but, you know, quickly after that initial thought, I knew that it was impossible. It was very atmospheric, I really enjoyed the music, the tone of the game, and we were seeing this cat running on the background. Turns out at the end, with a close-up of the cat, you know, the logo of the game and the name Stray, the cat is the character. We are going to control the cat. It looks to me that this is going to be kind of a post-apocalyptic environment, and we are a cat in a world of robots, I guess. But that gave me a lot of emotions. It almost felt that, you know, robots were taking over humans, but they were playing human roles. It was very weird. That part with the robot with a screen, you know, expressing facial emotions, human facial emotions. And about the cat, I really took that as the last piece of humanity, if you will, even though you're a cat in this crazy post-apocalyptic world. Stray is going to be a phenomenal game. I bet on that. Now, along the presentation, Sony was teasing with a lot of these, you know, pre-rendered logos, you know, digital images. And I was getting a little bit bored with that, to be honest with you. But at the very end of the presentation, it culminated with the design. They showed the design. Finally, we could take a look at the PS5. And let me address the big elephant in the room. What did I think about the design? I'm gonna be honest, guys, I really don't care about the design when it comes to video game consoles. Actually, I'm more worried about the size of the thing than with the actual looks. But of course that I have an opinion, and to be honest with you, let me say this. The best good looking console for me, and of course this is just my personal taste, is the Mega Drive Model 2. That's what I like. I like those early 90s futuristic looks to it, or approach to it. But the PS5 also looked very futuristic, but futuristic for now. I think it looks slick, it looks clean, it is actually appealing to me. I think that 10 from 15 years from now, that thing will look just old and odd. But overall, I enjoyed the design. Completely different, a completely different approach from the Xbox Series X. The Series X honestly looks just like a regular black box. The PS5 looks, I don't know, like futuristic router, if you will. But to close this topic, yes, I did enjoy the design, even though I don't care about the design. I just care about the games. We're going to have two versions of the PS5, and I think that this is big. We're going to have a standard one with the 4K disc driver, and we're going to have a digital one. And I think that is going to be very good. I think that is a smart choice. Which one am I going to get? Well, that's easy. I'm surrounded by physical media. Of course that I want the one with a disc drive. But having the digital only version, that is good because, you know, moving forward, a lot of people just don't care about physical media. A lot of kids, you know, kids that grew up with a PS4, they didn't grow up with physical media. And the digital option is here for you if you want to take that route. A lot of people don't have the space for physical media. A lot of people don't care about physical media. And moving forward, I really think that next gen, the 9th generation of video game consoles or video games, I think is going to be the last one with physical media. Am I saying that physical media will completely die? No, I don't. I think that we are still going to get, like, you know, collectors and special editions, but physical media is starting to be a thing from the past. It is what it is. So having the two options is good, but that raises a couple of questions for me. First one, backwards compatibility. And also a couple of games that were presented are also going to have a release on the PS4. But that's kind of weird because we know that this thing is going to be compatible with PS4, or is it not? I really don't know anymore. Is the PS5 going to read my PS4 discs? Then what is going to happen with the digital ones? Are we going to have both choices for retrocompatibility? Is the console going to recognize the disc and then kind of dump the digital information about it? Or is Sony going to have an external disc drive for sale? And if that's the case, to me, what's the point in having just a digital version of your brand new console? Another question that I want to raise is the price. Not the price tag of the PS5, but the price tag, the difference between these two models. Because let's face it, it's going to be what? 50 euros? 100 euros? And I'm really concerned about this, guys, because here's the thing. We have two models. One thing or one situation is to grab a model that is cheaper than the other one. Another different scenario, and just keep up with me, is to have a model that it's more expensive than the other one. I don't want to see the disc drive of the PS5 as a more expensive option. I wanted the digital version to be a cheaper one. That is what makes sense to me, and I want to jump into the big topic that we are going to discuss for the next months. The price tag, the actual price of the PS5. Both Sony and Microsoft are being very silenced about the price tag. Speaking about console wars, it almost feels that we are living in a cold console war. Both companies are hiding their triggers. They are not teasing anything about the price tag, and I think that the price tag will determine the success of the next generation. Both Microsoft and Sony are going to they will need to be very clever about this, especially taking into account the current situation that the world is living. I don't know how the situation is going on in your country, but here in Portugal things are getting to get really tough. Here in Lisbon, I live in the capital. I see a lot of restaurants, local restaurants that just shut doors and they went bankrupt. Local stores and business. I mean, we're talking about video games here. These are not essential needs. And I believe that both of these consoles are going to be released on the holidays. I'm guessing around November, maybe. So the price tag will will have to be the right one for both. I have a note here somewhere that yesterday Amazon had a leak that the PS5 was going to cost $600, but I think that turned out to be fake news, and I really hope so. When a console costs $600 on the US, they really don't adjust the currency, so which means that here in Europe it would be 600 euros or 599. Probably 600 euros for a PS5, and even though if it is the model with the disc drive, we're talking about what? Another 70 or 80 for an extra controller. I don't see they bundling two controllers with the system. Another 60 or so for a game because you need a game to play on the machine. So from 600 euros, we can really jump into 700 plus very easily. So yeah, 600 euros doesn't sound like a very good idea for me. I strongly believe and I hope that the PS5 will cost around 499 euros. The model with the disc drive. The digital version maybe 450, 399. I don't believe in that, but for 50, it's a 50 euros difference. That is the difference, but more than that, again, for both the Xbox and the PS5, 600 plus euros. I think that is going to be a dead fish in water. Last but not least, we got to see a couple of peripherals. There was this remote control, the headset, the camera, and it's fun. It's fun because it's new gen, and if you guys are gamers, and you probably are, if you're watching this video, if you watch my show, my channel, the new gen is almost here, and that is very exciting for me. And even though I'm very hyped, at the same time, it kind of feel rushed because we are still getting some major releases in current gen. I mean, The Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk, The Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, there's so many good games coming up. And you have two options here. You can wait a little bit until you jump into the next gen. Even though if the PS5 and the Xbox X are going to be released this year, a lot of people are going to wait 1 or 2 years, and To be honest, I think that's the smart choice. Me personally, well, that's my jam. I don't own expensive things. I'm not into cars. I don't even have a driver's license. Expensive clothes, shoe wears, whatever, you know. For me, gaming is really my passion. And yeah, I do like to follow or to jump into generation to generation right away. Even though I haven't done that with the previous one, but the PS5 at least is going to be a day one purchase for me. So these upcoming games that I've mentioned still in current gen, I'm not going to pick them for current gen. I think that I will wait for I don't know, brand new releases in modern consoles on the PS5. So yeah, until the end of the year, no brand new games for Johnny here. I'm just going to wait for the PS5. And we really need to keep an eye on this. And it's going to be interesting. The next couple of months are going to be very, very interesting and very important, again, for both Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft? Did I just say Microsoft? I meant Microsoft. And yeah, like I mentioned previously on the video, the Series X is really caught my attention because I know that I missed a lot of stuff, you know, during the years with the Xbox, you know, from the original, the 360, etc. And I don't know, the Series X kind of looks to me as a Xbox console to rule them all, and I really enjoy that concept. So I'm also going to keep an eye on the Series X. And moving forward to the 9th gen, what about Nintendo? Well, Nintendo is doing great. I mean, Nintendo with the Switch, and this is going to be weird because, you know, in the current gen, right, 8th gen, Nintendo had two consoles, right, the Wii U and the Switch. And moving forward to the 9th gen, Nintendo is not going to have a brand new hardware, a brand new generation hardware. I do think that we are still going to get a Switch Pro or something like that, but I mean, Nintendo is doing its own thing, and kudos for them. I never saw the Switch as a home console in which you can take on the go. I've always approached the Switch as a portable console, a modern portable console in which you can play on your TV. And I mean, they have Mario, they have Zelda, they have Pokemon, they have Animal Crossing. Nintendo is doing just fine. So yeah, to sum it up and to wrap up this video, the next generation is almost here and we are all very excited about it. So let it begin. And please let me know about you guys. Let me know down below what are your initial thoughts about the upcoming PlayStation 5. What were your thoughts about the games, your thoughts about the presentations, and are you going to get the PS5? And if you're going to get the PS5, are you going with the disc option or with the digital version only? So please let me know down below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community and game